Hello, everyone. I'm WDSU sports anchor Fletcher Macklin. Let's talk about the New Orleans Saints. Earlier this week, the Black and Gold wrapped up a very unique mini camp at their training facility in Metairie. Head coach Sean Payton didn't have any practices. Instead, he opted to do classroom work and have his team focus more on conditioning in weightlifting. We did speak with more than 20 players via Zoom, and one of the big talkers was Jameis Winston. All sorts of veteran players just heaping praise onto the quarterback competing to become Drew Brees' replacement. Of course, Jameis Winston is competing with Taysom Hill. Joining us now to talk more about Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill and all the praise that Jameis received, Maddie Hudak from ESPN Radio. Maddie, is it fair to say that the players seem to have a ton of respect for Jameis Winston?
Yeah, so like you said, it almost seems as if the competition is kind of leaning in Jameis Winston's favor. He seems to be more effusive in the media and just kind of more out there. And maybe it's a personality thing too, where he just kind of gels with the receiving corps better, or maybe it's all a smokescreen. But seems like he's done a lot of offseason work with the receivers. And I really liked that he paid for Traquan Smith's, board and sent him down to California. That's the type of leadership that you really need, especially as a continuation after Drew Brees. That's not to say that Taysom doesn't have those abilities. It just seems like media-wise, everything's kind of leaning that way. But I think that there's a very pointed reason that we haven't really had open practice yet. And I think a lot of that can get drawn back to the fact that there's still that kind of decision-making process. And that would put it all kind of under a microscope.
Maddie, full disclosure here, Taysom Hill did do a segment here at WDSU in 2019, so many of us had a chance to get to know him. I said last year that I thought it was going to be Taysom Hill starting when Drew Brees got hurt and not Jameis Winston, and it was Taysom Hill going 3-1 while Brees was out with the rib injury. I think it's going to be a great battle in training camp. I will say this, I think the people that are writing Taysom Hill off right now are doing themselves a disservice. I think this is going to be a great battle in training camp, and it is going to come down to those three crucial preseason games. Your thoughts on, again, the comments from the veteran players about Jameis Winston, maybe the sports psychology and the psyche of it all, how that could affect Taysom Hill, and does Taysom Hill have a chance to win this job in your opinion?
People like to discount sports psychology. I'm trying to kind of like push it on people, but I think there's a lot to be said about like the pressure that he was in that like 4 game stretch and kind of like the microscopic, like, is Taysom Hill a real quarterback kind of thing. That's not really what you want to like hear when you're going into like your audition essentially. And then you have 1 game kind of like taken away from him. But yeah, I don't think either of them make total sense in Sean Payton's mind and how he does not like turning the ball over. But I think that Taysom's little fumble spurt is more fixable long term than, and I was at the 49ers game, and I know that was like a game that you can't really judge someone in playing in that, but everyone that said that the LASIK is going to help him read the field, Jameis Winston, it might have been the yips just like it was Taysom, but it was not good. He was not, he almost threw multiple interceptions, and they were just lucky that they were dropped by the other team. But if I start seeing that happening in training camp and Taysom balls out, then I'm with you. I don't see any reason why it can't be his.
All right, Maddie Hudak from ESPN Radio in New Orleans, thank you very much for your time.